Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we're going to talk about a few things. The new Ork War Buggy, the possible contents for the other sprues in that box, the Speed Freaks box, the fact that Orktober is actually a thing, and also just the general potential of Vigilus and this new story thread that Games Workshop are introducing. So we've got Tooth and Claw, we've got Speed Freaks, these are things based on the planet Vigilus, and to be honest, there's a lot that could be done with that, so we'll talk a little bit about what could happen with that, because it could be kind of cool. I'm hoping for something a bit community interactive, a bit campaign-like, maybe. So, firstly, the new Ork War Buggy. I'm so happy. It looks so good. It's so Mad Max, and it gives me a nice warm feeling inside. The design of it is spot on. I really like it. I think it bridges a nice gap between the kind of old Ork stuff and the newer Ork stuff. It's nicely compact. It's obviously hilariously impractical in terms of something to wage war from, and that's what I like the most about it. It's just a hot rod with a gun on the top. I mean, what more could you want? Well, I'd say a hot rod, like half hot rod, half muscle car type thing. It's just Mad Max, really. That's all it is, and it looks great for it. There was another picture, was it two pictures? I'll dig them out and I'll stick them in the video, of other sprues in that box. And I have to admit, at first I got a little bit excited, but then I realised something. I think one of the other sprues that has been photographed, that seems to contain existing Ork War bikes. I don't think those are new bikes. There's just pieces on there that I recognise, especially the one that stood out to me is the placement of, there's a big Ork arm with a massive power axe with a chain run from the axe to the arm. The placement on that looks to be the same as the placement of that piece on existing sprues, because I had that sprue literally next to me a few days ago, and now I can't remember where it is. But I'm pretty sure that the bikes are going to be old, but the actual vehicles, the four-wheeled or maybe even three-wheeled, who knows, vehicles are going to be new. And it does look, we've got a picture of the War Buggy, it does look like there's going to be variants of that, I think. Looking at the red and the yellow sprues from the picture that we had yesterday, I don't know if those produce exactly the same vehicle. And if you look at the box art for Speed Freaks, it does show two different vehicles. It would be strange if it didn't contain, at least a couple of variations or variants that you could build, given that one of the vehicles on that box is unquestionably the War Buggy itself. It would be weird for that not to be the case. So at the very least, I think we're going to see variants of the War Buggy out of this thing, which is cool. It's good. That's covered that. I can't start another project. I'm doing my Emperor's Children. I cannot be tempted. It's not going to happen. No, I'm not going to get it finished in 2 months either, so there's no hope of finishing that and going straight onto Orks. I'm just going to have to resist the urge, even though it looks fucking awesome. The other thing is Orktober. The number of people who are like, you called it, I can't believe they actually called it Orktober. To be honest, that's not an original joke. I didn't make that up. Orktober has been a thing for years and years and years. I'm 99% sure I've seen Games Workshop reference Orktober in the past. I'm sure they did like an Orktoberfest thing. One sort of Christmas time a few years back? They're just going with what is obviously the best name for an Ork release month. But that being said, I do like the fact that I was like, there's one stupid reason why they've not been released yet, and that's because they want to call it Orktober, and then they put that video out with the War Buggy, and it's going to be called Orktober. I approve. It's good. It's good. It's really dumb, but it's really good. I really like it. And Vigilus. So let's talk about Vigilus a little bit. So we have Tooth and Claw, we have Speed Freaks, a couple of new releases, some new models. We'll see more Ork stuff hopefully at Warhammer Fest as well. But Vigilus itself is kind of interesting as well, because those two things, I believe, take place on that planet. The Orks are just racing around like nutters, because of course they are. You've got Gene Stealers fighting Space Wolves. The Mechanicum was involved as well. Where Vigilus is placed as like a bridge between the two halves of the Imperium separated by the Great Rift, that I would assume would mean the forces of chaos would attack as well. there's a lot that could be done with this, and there's a few different directions that they could take it. So Games Workshop could either do like a Gathering Storm style thing, where the storyline is already laid out in advance, where we will see a narrative thread emerge, but what we will see will be just, well, it will be just an already written story. There won't be any input from the community. It will just be, this is the tale, this is the narrative, this is what happens. If that were the case, that would be fine, as long as it was used to give some interesting new things. Like, there's, the Orc stuff needed updating, there's some Chaos stuff that needs updating. Chaos really did not get the attention it deserved when it comes to the Gathering Storm and all of that stuff. Yes, I know Death Guard got a massive boost, they got a load of new shit, they got new models, and I know that saying, oh, Chaos didn't get much when that all happened probably sounds a bit daft, but Death Guard are specific. They are Death Guard, they are not generic Chaos. Generic Chaos didn't get anything. Generic Chaos didn't come away with anything new. Abaddon played a significant part in the Gathering Storm, in the fact that he launched a fucking Black Crusade, and we got nothing for him, and we got nothing for the Black Legion, which, I mean, that seems off to me. Obviously, the reason for that is because they were doing the Death Guard stuff. It just comes down to the amount of time it takes to design and produce and, write all of this stuff. But introducing somewhere like Vigilus, that is a strategically important planet, strategically important enough that they're already having massive issues, the Imperium, dealing with various threats, that would be as good a time as any to have some sort of resurgence, either of the Black Legion or even like World Eaters or one of the other, any of the Chaos guys who have not had their time yet. I mean, Thousand Sons and Death Guard are taken care of. They have new ranges, they have new models, they have codexes, so on and so forth. Vigilus would be a good opportunity for Games Workshop to introduce some more stuff for Chaos as a whole. I would prefer to see just generic Chaos. I would like to see, even if it's Black Legion branded stuff, it can still be used for anything you like. Black Legion being a Chaos and Divided Legion is kind of perfect for that, because you can do whatever you like with it, really. I've seen plenty of people who have had Black Legion armies that are flavoured towards specific gods. It would be kind of nice to see that explored. If it was just a straight narrative thing, though, I think that would miss out on an opportunity to capitalise on the new state of the Imperium by actually having the community decide the way things go. One of my sort of best memories of 40k was the original 13th Black Crusade, which was a global community event where you went to your local Games Workshop, you went to your friendly local gaming store, and you sat down. You stood there and you played games of Warhammer 40k. All the different factions and races and so on were separated into essentially good or bad, and the results of the matches were recorded and then sent to Games Workshop, and then that decided who won, effectively. I quite liked that. That was an interesting thing to do, and it brought people together and brought people to play together who otherwise maybe wouldn't have done. I would like to see that return again. I think they've probably done that since, right? I took, like I've said before, I kind of had a break away from the hobby. So if there, stuff that happened in that gap where I wasn't playing or I wasn't collecting, I'm not sure of, understandably, because I wasn't involved in it. But that was a rewarding way to play, and I'd like to see them introduce that again. I'd like to see that happen again. Vigilus could be a good opportunity to do that. At the very least, Vigilus is a good chance to drop new stuff for a good reason. As I say, we could get new Chaos stuff. We're getting new Gene Stealer stuff. I know you don't like it, but Space Wolves are getting new stuff. Technically, sort of, you are getting Primaris, which I know you already got access to Primaris, etc., etc. That's just how things are now. Primaris is the new thing that Space Marine chapters get. I understand. Apparently no one likes it. Even people who like Primaris don't particularly like it. But it's a good opportunity to expand on the factions that are involved in that war. In terms of actual products, to be honest, there's multiple different things they could do. They could have like Imperial Guard versus Genestealers. They could have Skitarii versus Orcs. They could have Chaos versus Skitarii. That would be an interesting one, actually. Hell, you could go completely. You could kind of Forge Bane it in a way, and you could do Chaos versus Skitarii. That would be an interesting matchup at the very least. Although Skitarii have already had a box technically with Forge Bane, there are a few different interesting combinations. Whether they do like little campaign packages, that could be an interesting thing. That's something that I think actually could potentially work well. You know, little set campaign boxes whereby even armies that have already got some form of larger box in the form of things like Tooth and Claw or Forgebane, having smaller boxes that are like set up battles, again, could be a good way to get people to expand armies or even start new ones. To be honest, there's so much that can be done with a place like Vigilus and with a story thread on Vigilus that I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it, and I really hope they take full advantage of it. The fact that we're seeing the Speed Freaks game kind of suggests to me that they're going into this, you know, in a very in an appropriate state of mind, I guess. Tooth and Claw is a good start. Speed Freaks is an excellent continuation. If we start to see new kits for armies that are involved in a conflict on Vigilus, that'd be perfect, to be honest. So yeah, it's going to be interesting watching them and seeing what they come up with for this, because there's a lot of potential there, and I don't want them to squander it, because frankly I think they're doing a decent job so far, much though, you know, the Space Wolf Primaris thing is a disappointment to a lot of people. The way they are doing Genestealers for that Genestealer cults for that box, I quite like that, and it would be good to see them do more of that kind of thing, especially if they have an established campaign going. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, what would you like to see come out of that story thread? Do you want to see more boxes, more like Tooth and Claw style things? Do you think we'll see a few more specialist things like the Speed Freaks game? How many more Orc vehicles do you think we're going to get? 5, 6? All of them? I'd like all of them, but I don't think that's going to happen. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. There's various things to click: video, Patreon, subscribe. Click them if you want to. Don't click them if you don't want them. It's up to you. And I will see you for the next one. Toodaloo.